minutes before the meeting, we try to receive proposals to the people who are facilitating that night's meeting. Okay.
And 15 minutes before we still had about 10 people.
Do you do that by showing up here and saying, here's something I'm thinking about?
Yes.
Preferably through a working group. And Claire, what I would say about what constitutes enough people to do decision making, I would ask the group, you guys feel comfortable making a decision for Occupy Asheville with this many people? And if everyone said yes we do, then we would go ahead, but I think right now everyone would agree that no we don't.
Well, we can...
That's true. That's a really good point. We can't, and this conversation should be held with everyone. It's an important thing. So it's not that today is not a GA. It's just that we don't have any formal proposals that we can't act on them.
Point of interest?
Yeah.
You're not doing direct, right?
Yeah, we're directly.
Let's see. At was it Tuesday night or Wednesday night? The Nonviolent Training Direct Action Working Group, in combination with the Camp Security Safety Group, did have a proposal. It was discussed, and it was sent, and it was consensus upon, and it was to be just reported back on. So and part of that proposal was to figure out where the GA was going to be this week. So there is something involved with it.
Right. That's fine. I think that would be in your report back. If that's all right. You can cover it.
The point being that it is something this GA was passed to decide for everyone else. So
right. You're very right.
We'll discuss that
later. Very true.
Okay?
Very right.
Do you have a point of interest?
Idea.
Check it. People know that things are going to happen without this, then they'll start to show up.
Okay. Yes. And not as not a facilitator, but as Elizabeth, I would say that was probably a decision that a lot of people there regretted because of the backlash that occurred because not enough people were there. And so, I mean, if we want to try to make a decision and see what people say about it, like if it seems kind of obvious and we could just pass it without everyone here, I think that's a good idea. But well, let's just see how this goes. Let's just get started.
Why don't we just see if we want to call it a GA?
Yeah, I mean, this is a GA, but we may. I'm just suggesting, from a facilitation standpoint, that we might want to be really careful about what kinds of decisions we make here today, with the fact that people are exhausted. And people, someone said to me, why aren't all the campers here? And I said, well, it's because we're really tired, and we needed a day off.
Well, who is everyone? And it just seems like that who is everyone? And I'm just uncomfortable with it. I know small numbers make us feel like this isn't everyone here, but lots of people are dropping out because they don't do meetings. And I think in a representative situation, if you don't show up, you lose your voice.
And although there is a lot, I mean, this is not a debate, but although there are a lot of tired people, I just came from the campsite, and it's just bubbling. And people are just having a grand old time, and they're getting food, and they're taking the money for cigarettes, and they're like wondering about, is the representative from the campers here? I was told specifically by one of the ground control that, that there will be something coming from, was that you?
I was raising my hand, but...
to respond, or are you the camp representative?
I'm not a camp representative, but I am a solid camper.
That's not the point. We were told that there is someone who is the representative from the campers who is here or would be here. So, see, this disjointedness is almost, I mean, we haven't completed our learning yet.
Right. Okay.
Who's tracking?
So here's what I would say.
Yes.
I think if we're moving away from bureaucracy and towards a system where the voice of the people is truly represented, then we have to use a little bit of common sense. And we clearly do not have a wide enough variety of folk here to actually move on anything.
So we're wasting our time.
May I speak, please? While I don't believe there are enough people here for us to do any type of a binding consensus, I see no reason why we should not conduct a full GA, and as part of that GA, I would like for us to vote on a statement that our front line needs to be present, i.e. our campers, our occupiers that are putting in their entire lives for this, need to be present at the general election, just as a statement.
Okay, well, we can, when we get to proposals, you can propose that and we can try to pass it.
That, but I see no reason why we should not have a GA. I do not think we have a broad enough audience for any type of a general consensus, but I don't think that's going to be needed today at any GA.
Okay.
We haven't had one of those at a GA in a long time.
Yeah, Coleman?
I've heard someone ask, well, why don't we have a quorum? What constitutes a quorum? And it's almost a discussion. That's a parliamentary, bureaucratic kind of format, and it's not really possible for us to determine a quorum. So that even might need to be discussed for some people who aren't familiar with the horizontalism that is at play as opposed to the vertically stacked pyramid that we're resisting. But is there a threshold number, or is it the gentleman saying?
There has been a 90% rule on votes when they were seeking a consensus of a large group.
Correct. When I'm talking about the modified consensus, you're talking about, is there intuitively, knowing there's nearly 100 people involved, X number of people kind of puts us in that mass?
Maybe that's something we can talk about as an agenda item, small GA turnout, how we can work on that, how we can make a decision about how many people we need.
Yeah.
So I think we should definitely, I think we should go ahead and get started. Let's take a moment of silence to reflect upon why we're here. Let's all try to remember that we're all here for the same thing, and we may have very different ideas about the best way to go about it. And our job here today is to listen to each other and work through that. Alright, let's bring it back. Do we have someone taking notes? Yeah, you're on it. Awesome. What's your name? Steve? Awesome. Thank you, Steve. And would someone be okay doing vibes? Jen. Okay, Jen will do vibes. Is anybody here brand new to GA? This is your first one. Alright, thank you for coming. Awesome. So, my name is Elizabeth again, and this is kind of a small group, so it's going to be a little bit different from other GAs, but we're really glad you're here. We're just going to basically start off. Would you review hand signals that we've been using, because I've been gone for a little bit? What's your name?
Alright, my name's Temby, and so we have a bunch of hand signals that we use to indicate how we're feeling about the whole process. And so one hand signal that we use is this. It means, I agree, I like this, I want a big slice of this. This means I have mixed feelings. I'm not really sure how I feel about this. I'm unsure. Maybe I don't even care. This is I don't like that. I disagree. And then we have this, which is point of process, which means we try to follow a process in the GA that is called direct democracy. And in that process, we try to stay on the topic that's at hand, or there'll be a time for announcements, so we'll be doing announcements at that time. If someone is off topic or out of the process, hold up this sign, and us as facilitators will try to call on you so you can help us point out that perhaps it's a point of process, and we'll try to go from there to get back on the process. This means block, which means that if someone is talking about something in a proposal, and you have serious ethical or safety concerns to that proposal, you block, which means that if this thing is passed, if this proposal is passed, you will leave the movement based on these ethical or safety concerns. This means point of information, which means I have something of fact that is very relevant to what is just being said that will help out the whole group. And this indicate that you would like that you understand what the person is saying and you'd like them to go ahead and wrap it up. That they've been going on and you get the point. So
I think we've been trying not to use this very much because it comes off as kind of rude sometimes. So let's try to, as a group, just give people the space they need to say what they're saying. There's a difference between someone repeatedly saying the same thing over again and someone who just isn't really concise with how they speak. And we want to hear everybody, regardless of whether you can say it in a sentence or if it takes you 10.
Yeah. So be polite and discretionary, and be welcome of diverse styles, because that's what we want to incorporate here.
And then speak up. If you can't hear, do this. Facilitator will try to see it and call it out so that we can all hear each other. Hopefully with a small group it'll be easy today. So we're going to start out with announcements back, or report back from working group. So if you are a part of a working group and you would like to share what you guys have been doing this week, anything that you've got coming up, why don't you guys I guess we can just raise our hands since we're small. So let's go left to right, maybe? In the orange, and then in the green.
I'm Steve. I'm from the Nonviolence Direct Action Training Group. 2 reports. One is we had a great training down under the Lexington Street Bridge this afternoon in nonviolence. 2 people were there at the beginning, and by the end we had about 8 more. So, and it worked out really well. We really encourage everyone who has not had nonviolence training or who has and wants more, and we can always use more, please come to these. And we're doing them, Saturdays and Sundays at around noon? Is that kind of the plan?
I'm not committing beyond this afternoon.
Okay. But we will be doing ongoing training, and we also encourage affinity groups to get training.
On the website and the board at the campsite, it said there was Wednesday at 5:30. Is that still true?
That is not a training. It's a meeting that our group has sponsored to try to pull affinity groups together for a discussion about cooperation between and support for the affinity groups, to pull together some kind of spokes council of affinity groups. And this is really important because right now the affinity groups are kind of operating on their own, and there's not enough communication between them. So we may do overlap and get in each other's way.
Well, a point of clarification on the intent of the 5:30 meeting after this, or whatever time this ends, was to essentially get people up to understand what is an affinity group and what is a spokes council as a preliminary to drawing them together. So anyone is welcome to just help understand what those terms mean and how they work together within a mass movement.
We really need a spokes council of some kind, and that's a longer-term project. But there'll be a discussion. We encourage you all to stay and be part of that discussion after this.
Great, thanks, Steve.
And second report. This is a proposal which was consented on Wednesday, and it needs to be, I guess, read a second time. There was some ambiguity on Wednesday and some discussion. So this is this has been consented on, but it wasn't reported in this fashion then. The Nonviolent Direct Action Training Working Group and the Safety Working Group came up with these proposals. To move the GA to the encampment on Thursday and Friday nights, regular Saturday GA at Pritchard Park with ticket back to encampment for dinner, and Sunday a GA in Back Park here to decide at this one on Sundays to decide GA, the place of the GA for Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, the place of the site for GA on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Number 2, look for, and this is because of difficulties that have arisen in the management of the encampment, look for and recruit people trained in peacekeeping, de-escalation, safety, and security to work in the encampment. And 3, encourage Asheville participants to spend more time at the encampment and to give extra help to the peacekeeper, safety, and support functions in whatever way you can. So this has already been consented on. Awesome. If there's any discussion, that would be fine. But we also need to decide schedules for the GA for Monday, Tuesday.
Okay, that can be once we get to the agenda item.
Fine.
Cool.
Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. That's awesome. Were there any questions about what Steve just read?
I have one about the camp and making it more welcoming to people who haven't been there before. I know there's somebody that's supposed to be kind of like a welcoming greeter person, though they're not always there. I just wonder what has been decided, if anything, about that enhance that? I think it's really important.
I don't have the answer to that.
Yeah, I know camp has like a little sheet of paper where people sign up for roles, and one of them is definitely like welcoming, one of them is food, one of them is safety. So there's always supposed to be someone sitting near the information table there to greet new people. And so I think the way to handle that, and I'm happy to do this, is for someone to go talk to camp and just say, hey, we got feedback that there's not always someone at the welcoming table. Let's go over that and check and see who's slacking on their duty and figure out if they need to maybe take on less, or if we need to just move more, have more people volunteer to do that. So I think a great thing that we could do is, like what Steve just said, having everyone from Occupy Asheville just spending some time there. You don't have to be camping to be on the welcoming committee, so maybe we could try to open that up.
I spent 2 different 2-hour time slots there, and with the exception of Carol and Coleman, I had a really hard time even finding anybody who was part of the movement. I talked to a lot of people, and maybe I was there at bad times, but a lot of people that were there for coffee and just moving on at that time. And one other guy who's been in the beginning was at the food station, the kitchen. He was really overworked. He was supposed to be relieved. Nobody relieved him. He'd been working all day, and he wasn't supposed to be there, but he was there to try to protect the food. So I tried to go there because I wanted to, bring some of what we've had at Pritchard Park there, and I had a hard time finding people to even network with there. Thank you, Carol. Claire, I'm sorry.
Okay, well, I'm camping, and I know most of the people who are doing those rules camping, so I will definitely take both of those comments to camp and just say we need to tighten up a little bit, and also we need maybe like a sign-up list or something for people who aren't camping but want to come to camp and help with food or help with welcoming or whatever it is.
Pat first, sure.
My name is Ken. I have a perspective because I think last night was the first time I visited the encampment. I would speak towards trying to create a culture of welcoming people and responding to people who pass by. Because I know I was sitting like 50 feet away from the gate, and I said hi to someone, and they walked in, and we had a conversation. It's really dynamic. I think it might be harder to staff than to promote a culture of welcoming. Like, I used a greeting that I picked up at a rainbow gathering, which is welcome home. I don't know if they've been here for 20 days or if they're just showing up for the first time.
I would just suggest that maybe a welcoming working committee be strengthened if possible, so that you can kind of work together. And that could be done all of it.
Yeah, those are all really great comments. I think we should move on to the next working group announcement now. So, I think it's just blocking.
Are you blocking, son, or?
Well, I would like to make a comment on moving.
You might want to wait 1 second.
Yeah, I will. We've been moving the General Assembly all around, okay? I just came from the camp. There are more people in the camp than there are here. Now, nobody knows where this GA is today.
It's written on the chalkboard at camp.
I was told Pritchard Park, I was told Pack Square, I was told 3 o'clock, 5 o'clock, and 7 o'clock, okay? Now, when we start moving this thing all around and jogging the times all around, it gets very confusing. Now, I don't recall Coleman even discussing to meet here. I thought we were going to meet in Pritchard Park today.
Point of information.
Is that not the amendment that we consented on the other day?
Yeah, okay.
Point of information. For a long time, we have pointed to Sunday GAs being here. There's been a couple of times it's been somewhere else. The proposal that was read and consented upon this week was allowed that it is going to be here. Signs have been up, so there is plenty of room for miscommunication when we're not doing our messaging well enough or people are not reading the signs. I get what you're saying. Part of what we're doing here, and we should go on the agenda, was to discuss this very issue. So,
were you at Pritchard Park yesterday?
I was not.
was the GA in
Yes,
Pritchard Park?
I was there. And it
Okay,
said
I thought you had decided that Saturday, Sunday would be in Pritchard Park, and the other days it would be at encampment.
We'll review his proposal again when we get to that as an agenda item. We'll try to clear it up
Really
for
and
you.
truly, I think when we have a GA at the encampment, we are preaching to the choir. Okay?
Is this a point or discussion?
It's both.
I need to just interject. My daughter just got in a car accident. She's 17. I need to go. Can somebody else take that? I'm on here. All right.
Okay, yeah, Colin, why don't you come down, dude? I'm so sorry.
That's
Will you let us know?
Yeah, I'll try to meet with you guys at either Firestorm
Or Wall Street, yeah. I
Thanks.
think it's Wall Street.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah, I just want to say in response to that it does say on the website that the GA was here at 3 o'clock.
The website has been accurate all weekend.
For information, there is no Wi-Fi at the camp. A lot of us down there are very low tech.
This sign has
You
been
would
up
think
for
we
like
could
3
read
days. There's another sign up there too. There's 2 signs down there.
Let's try to rein this conversation in, because we're going to have a full-out conversation about this exact topic at the agenda item. So all of your comments are so important, and we want to make sure we give them dual appropriate attention when it's the right time. So now let's move it on to the next working group report back. Are there any other working groups? Yeah.
I'm John in Treasury. I don't have a full report for Mike, but we have been working on a bunch of things this week. We've got the Treasury rules. They're on the web. We've got a donate page on the live on the web now with pointers going back and forth between the 2 pages. It's not very prominent on the home page, but there is a donate button on the home page. So if you guys have Facebook friends, whatever, that y'all can spam this out and try and get people aware of the fact that they can use a credit card to get us money, that would be great.
I have a question. You
All
said
donation that came into camp that somebody's coming through, where's the treasurer? So the camp's working it out, eventually gets to him. Y'all saw that. That's Mr. John Reed, an older gentleman.
you said the link is on the website, or did
There's
there's a
a link
button?
on the. Are you familiar with the home page?
Yeah.
On the home page, there's this whole bunch of words down right under 99, and one of them is the word donate.
Now, do I
And
need?
then over in forums, campers needs, there's a list of campers needs, and there's a link there.
Okay.
Away.
That'll send us to like an actual page that we can share instead of just the, because you can't share that button.
Getting control of the website this week. They've
Yeah.
got access. Anyway, so the website's going to be a work in progress for just a little bit longer.
Well, my question is the donate page itself. Is there an actual page, a link besides just the donate button to point people to?
So there's a link to WePay.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that we can find on there. All right.
And what we did was we went to New York, Chicago, Boston, and New Orleans and looked to see how they did it, and we pretty much just copied exactly what they were doing.
Yeah. Do you know if there's any dissent among those groups?
Pardon?
Do you know if there's any dissent among those groups?
Yeah, there's plenty of conversations, especially in New York this week.
Thank you.
They also have more money than we control them for.
Any other questions for Treasury?
I just want to thank you because when Treasury is visible and transparent as you have been, and the information about how to access the funds and how to account for them is so clear, it builds confidence in the donors, and I appreciate that.
Okay, I'll pass that on to Mike.
Other working groups?
We have a brand new working group, Street Art and Theater. We had one meeting this Thursday at Firestorm at 6, and we're going to do the same next Thursday, this coming Thursday. We've got some interesting projects going, and we would love more creative input and energy behind that. Yeah.
Can you come to the meeting, the folks come to the meeting after this meeting, please? Has that been an activity group that's looking
It's a
at some of that
learning,
stuff
okay,
too?
so not a
Yeah.
meeting.
Possibly, yeah.
Okay, good.
I'll clarify that in a minute. You were there, Dick? Oh.
Thursday at 6 at Firestorm.
Okay.
Do you have like an email list?
I do.
Okay.
I'll make sure to get your email before we're done.
Okay, thank you.
No, I was going to get into another working group.
Okay, are we done with that? Any other questions? Great. That's awesome. We need more art, more fun stuff. Yeah. Cool. You doing another working group?
It's a quasi. It's a thought, and it's my name's Coleman. I'm the big guy that's living in the big house. I want to clarify that it's not quite a working group, but the only way that RV, which was donated to us, actually for me to live in, and I asked the owner, Monica, if we could park it, and under the conditions after we went and talked to numerous people, that I get a little portion of it to sleep in. I'm homeless, but we're trying to set that RV up to perform like a community center. And it's kind of fluid. We're figuring it out. I mean, and some of the suggestions, so you can see where it becomes not quite a working group. It's a place to me. We've already had 2 or 3 councils, consulting with people who had problems. It's a respite. We've done some media work in it. We're trying to clean it out. There can be a second library. It's just a source. It's all it is. So I get a little teeny place to live in, and I'm kind of like the steward or like the caretaker. So the caretaker lives at the community center. And so help us, if you would. There are people who don't understand that yet, that, because of lack of understanding, they're talking about, we kind of get the sense. So that's all we're trying to do is provide a stronger footprint wherever we go.
I got you, Coleman.
Thank you.
I got a working group announcement. So facilitation is meeting today at 6 p.m. We are apparently not clear on a location because we weren't sure if Firestorm was going to be open today or not. So it's either going to be at Firestorm or at Wall Street Cafe. We will make sure that one person, do you know?
Firestorm closes every Sunday.
Yeah, but Liberty is in the working group, and so they can open it for us if we need it. Yeah, that's why it was unclear.
Okay.
But basically what we're doing in that working group is really going through considering how GAs have been going, talking about the process, talking with really experienced facilitators, which clearly I'm not one of them, but I'm working on it. So we're getting a group of different generations, different levels of experience together to share what we've done before, what works, what doesn't, and we're trying to tighten up the GA process. So after this meeting tonight, you guys can expect a clearer understanding of what exactly, like we're going to have a goal of GA, like a mission statement basically for GAs. We're going to have a clearly defined process. We're going to know exactly which hand signals we're using and which ones we're not. And we're going to have posted training. So we've kind of cut down on the facilitation trainings because we don't want to train anyone on a process that we're about to change up a lot. But we will have posted training so that more people can get involved and we can have more diverse people up here facilitating, less young people, less white people, less men in general, that kind of situation. And we're also working on having, what was the other thing? Set facilitators for the whole week. So that way it's not going to be a thing where we show up and we don't know who's facilitating. We'll have people sign up for it for the whole week. That way it'll just be clear. That person can maybe start bottom lining publicity for where the GA is, when it is, making sure that there's one person who's really clear about it, who's telling everyone the same thing. So that's our goal. So I know it's been a little bit frustrating. We're new at this. You guys are awesome for hanging in there, and we're going to have a great meeting today. So if you want to put your thoughts into that process, come to it. 6 p.m. Cool.
Quick rally group announcement. Wednesday, 5 o'clock, PAC. It's a flash meditation, and then later that evening at 6, Pritchard Park general meeting of the spirituality group.
Your name again, please?
My name is Burhan. Otherwise known as Ras Burhan. 5 on Wednesday.
My name is Kendra. I'm with the media working group. David Robick is giving a free show at the camp tonight at midnight. I want to remind everybody, and he will also be doing another performance at noon. So if you're not a night owl and can't make the one at the camp tonight, he's doing a noon show at Pritchard Park tomorrow.
David Robick?
David Robick is a political singer. He's got a song, Who Would Jesus Bomb? and he's got a new Occupy Wall Street song. Also,
He's
really
internationally known. He's part of our general age group, a little older, and a lot of his, you read his lyrics, it's very radical, to the point, you know, let's jam up the cogs a little bit.
Awesome.
Can I make an announcement that kind of dovetails with what you're talking about right now? Is that all right?
Sure, yeah, we're about to open the floor up for general announcements,
You want me to wait? I'll wait.
Are there any other working group announcements? I think we probably got them all that are here. Cool, so yeah, go ahead.
I'm Julie. And Harry Mason Hendricks.
Julie, can you speak up a little?
Wait. Last Saturday, Harry Mason Hendricks came and played at Pritchard Park. And she's starting something called Ride Together Fest. The idea is to have, like the gentleman that's going to play tonight and tomorrow, have musicians come together with conscious lyrics that support this cause. So the idea is to have kind of a sister event with the Occupy movement, only it's a music festival. The idea is that music, you know, it's great to hold signs and have chants, but music is such a universal language, and it really has this way of attracting people in that we just had this idea that we want to do concerts in, you know, hopefully in all the cities that are doing the Occupy movement. So right now we're looking for conscious musicians who have songs with conscious lyrics and lyrics that support the movement. So I have a few flyers here if anybody's interested, if you know somebody, if you are a musician, or if you just have a general interest in this concept. Julie?
My name is Beth.
You got a time schedule yet, Julie?
Well, we haven't planned anything yet. We're just...
I don't think David would want to do that.
Hmm.
I don't think David would want to do it.
I don't know.
Depends on what he's doing.
He travels all over the place.
Yeah, right.
Oh, she grabbed a pen.
I have a pen. You need one?
I've been working on the things related to Treasury, and this is not what that's about. But early on, I was encouraged to go to the OccupyAsheville.org site and have your discussions on the forum there. Well, those forums don't get used nearly as much as the bullshit thing on Facebook, whatever that is. It's important, two things. One, for transparency, to get at least a synopsis of what your working group's working on in the forum, so that other people can come in and figure out what's going on. And two, that calendar there should be the official calendar. If you've got a work group meeting, it should be on that calendar, so that somebody can pop up and know what's going on and not have the confusion. I mean, that calendar was accurate today. Now, the 800 number, less so. Yesterday, all day, it was about Friday. I don't know what's going on with that. I don't know who's in charge of that. But we need communications, obviously. And I just encourage every work group to absolutely keep your calendar dates updated on our... How do you do it?
Pardon?
How do you update the calendar?
I think it's closed out, and they were working on it. Opening the calendar up, because I had that same issue.
It's open. As far as I know, it's open. You just post, there's a link at the top of the calendar that says post an event, and then it will take you to a page where you can enter all your information for the event.
Oh, yeah.
And the date and the time and everything.
Maybe they just fixed it. It was 2 nights ago.
Thank you.
Question about like that topic. Is there any like security measures taken? Can anybody post on the calendar?
They can, but it is moderated.
Moderated?
Yeah, it goes to the moderator before it gets posted on the calendar.
Plus, you have to be a member too. So.
Yeah, and you have to be a
signed
member
up.
and signed in to post.
Goldman, Facebook question. Is there no more calendar questions?
Speak up.
Okay, I want to remind you that we're still on announcements, so if it's more of a discussion, we should move it, but if it's just more...
Okay, I'll wait.
Okay, thanks, Colin. Any other general announcements?
Right behind you, I don't know, I'll ask that in a minute, but depending upon when this, okay, yeah, I just want to reiterate that there's something at 5:30 after GA to discuss the city group vote council.
Will you say just a little more about that?
Yeah, we'll do.
Get the sunglasses off.
Yeah, that's cool. In our organizing for creative nonviolence and actions up to the civilians, we have affinity groups, which is a basic unit for organizing ourselves. 5 to 15 people or so that you know. So, but the learning circle or discussion circle is intended to begin to inform people what we're talking about. That's what it is. So there's certain words and definitions going around. The spokes council is a device that's used as we plan actions for members of affinity groups, which are the spokespeople for the affinity groups, come to the spokes council for us to be able to have lots of people send their representatives to a spokes council to make decisions for mass action when we have lots of people. So affinity groups is how we divide ourselves into units, and spokes council is how we take representatives to help make decisions. So we'll be talking about that later.
I just wanted to announce people about what's going on Tuesday. Tuesday is a regular Asheville City Council meeting. At that meeting, it is up for question whether or not Occupy Asheville will continue to be allowed to stay where we're staying. And so it's a big topic, and I'm not sure if there are people already talking about it or not. That's why I'm bringing this up right now, is because I think we should meet about it. So my announcement is, if anyone has any interest after the meeting in talking about how we prepare for Tuesday's
Could you maybe announce this so we can talk about it at the camp after, just out of respect, the affinity group, the facilitators meeting at 6, and we have till 5:30.
Yes.
And I'm not, if you would permit me a point of clarification.
Yes, please.
That conversation is beginning to happen, has begun to happen over the past few days, realizing that we have this nexus happening on Tuesday. We don't really know what our situation will be Wednesday, but there are considerations. If we need, if we're told to evict, do we evict? If not, how do we do that? What to do, where to do, how to do. And a lot of this conversation is at the campground, and there are also people scouting, looking for other places. We honestly don't know what's going on, but we do know that we have a community. And I'll be quiet for 30 seconds if you permit me, because the conversation that's happening is trying to be consistent with the message. About 10 days ago, look at how the culture clash happened under the bridge, and all of that hoorah and problems down there. And then slowly it kind of got to working with the people who were homeless and the people who were Occupy. And look at the services that we're providing, and look how much positive direction has been made. Look at the businesses that are stepping forward. Look at the clothes that are coming in from all these places. And if you go to City Council on Tuesday night, this is the message, one of the messages that we need to be given. Yeah, there were problems, but you need to come down there and see how good it is now, and you need to go find out what. So that's kind of the direction.
Could you tell us a time where we could meet at the campsite?
I'll be back down there at dinner. After dinner.
Can we maybe say 8 o'clock? Is that all right? 8 o'clock at the camp. If you're interested in this conversation, please come.
Summarize the conversation.
The conversation is Tuesday. There's a meeting at Asheville City Council. What do we do about that meeting to help all of us out? Ma'am?
For anybody who has access to the internet, Gordon Smith, who's on council, he stated that he wants to go see the encampment at some point before the meeting on Tuesday night. And he also has a website called, or I'm just not him, but he gets a lot of information back and forth from Scrutiny Hooligans. And he's actually had several threads about Occupy Asheville, inviting comments about what people think the city council should be involved in or not. And he takes that information seriously, and then he has other people that he advises with. I don't know that he supports one way or the other at this point, but he's trying to get more information. So if you can get on to Scrutiny Hooligans, you can post your comments there, and you'll see the threads on it. Scrutiny Hooligans.
The website?
Yes.
Yeah, Gordon Smith, you can also leave comments on his Facebook, and he'll read them.
Yeah.
I want to coattail on that a little bit. It would really be great if someone could call him up and say, let's make a time, let's meet there, give him a bit of a structured
tour, like a
tour.
It's a great idea. Maybe you guys can talk about that tonight.
Yeah, 8 o'clock.
Cecil Bothwell took it upon himself just to show up and come to camp and talk to people. And I think that's what all of City Council ought to do. I don't think they need like an engraved invitation from us. Please come visit us beggars under the bridge. Just come out.
Might we not have a consensus vote last night on making a formal invitation to them, so that they would have to either accept it or reject it?
You were there? Did you miss it?
I don't remember.
Like have the notes from yesterday evening?
I have information about that. The council has to be careful about where they go in the group, because it should be construed that they're having a meeting of council. So just keep that in mind when you're inviting them or expecting them to do things.
Okay. Maybe in direct response to your question, I don't think that was it your understanding we had a consensus about something yesterday?
It was my understanding that there was a consensus about formally inviting the city council to come down to the occupied area.
Might have been at the last city council. Okay. Yesterday we didn't really have any formal proposals other than the demands working group.
Right.
So I don't know if we never had a vote or a group consensus about how to proceed with that particular item.
Okay.
So that's the feedback from what we did yesterday.
Okay.
Gordon posted a link on for email that you can send to all the city councilors at once. He posted it on OccupyAsheville info, and you can mark it up to one letter to all of them.
Yeah, okay, do we have, so just to kind of recap, there will be a meeting tonight at 8 o'clock at camp to go into a more in-depth discussion about what are we going to, like, how are we going to interact with City Council in the next day or two between now and the meeting, and then based on what decisions they may or may not make, what are we going to do about it. So that discussion obviously needs to be more inclusive of more campers, so we're going to have it tonight at camp at 8. Any other general announcements? Cool. Okay, we're going to move on now to agenda items. So we don't have an agenda here today. I know we had talked about a couple things that need to be agenda items. So if people just want to call them out, we can maybe write them down and then go through them. Here's something to write with. Alright, I'm prepared to roll with it. I wasn't expecting it.
Can I have that piece of paper back and give you some?
Okay, cool. So
I like to keep that.
So just to remind you guys before we do this, agenda items are something that really needs to be discussed as a whole group and not something that you can pull a few people aside to talk about later. So what do we want to talk about for our agenda today?
One of the first things would be encouraging the attendance of the GA.
Okay, right, yeah. We want to put that on the agenda, everybody? Okay.
Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday this week. Location of the time.
And I believe we were talking about how many people do we actually need to consider?
What constitutes a quorum?
Yeah, a quorum. And I think we need to discuss that today, obviously, since it's such an issue. Especially with so many important things coming up this week.
Okay. Any other agenda items? So far we have, let's see, we have how to encourage people to come to GAs, the location and time of the GAs for tomorrow, Tuesday, and Wednesday. We have Thursday and Friday set for camp. And then what constitutes enough people to have a decision-making process?
Yeah, that's a suggestion.
Anything else to add to the agenda?
I've heard a lot of people talking about their concern last week. A lot of it has due to the drama of the encampment, now that we have 24/7 encampment down. But basically the idea is that it's not just like individuals, but a lot of people as a whole are making decisions around the encampment and in working groups that maybe should be brought to consensus at the General Assembly, but they're not being, and they're just being decided upon and then executed by fewer numbers.
Okay, I'm a little confused as to how you want to make that an agenda item.
I don't know. I know a lot of the people who have that as a serious concern aren't here at the General Assembly. If anyone else has any particular things that they have in mind,
you gotta talk louder.
It may just need to be recognized and not so much discussed, depending on how much you guys have to say about it. That there are a lot of things that before you execute and decide on something that you should definitely consider whether it should be brought to consensus or not. It might just need to be recognized at the General Assembly. It might need to be discussed depending on if I'm on the other line.
I think that's a really great point, and I think the best way to go from that in the context of what we're doing here is if you have a specific concern about one thing that happened that should have been consensus upon to the GA, to make it an agenda item and have a proposal about how you would like that process to go instead of them making it. So, like, you could propose, I think that if they're going to decide what times they're serving food, that needs to be consensus upon by GA, like something like that. Does that make sense? Cool. Okay. Agenda item or?
Yeah. Sure. Kind of like an addendum to his item about getting more people from the camp and other people that need to come to GA. I would like to add to that how to get more people that are at GA to go to camp, as well as how to get, big time. Big time. And also how to get, even more important to me, is how to get more people that think that they are on the internet doing things to get them off the internet, out of their homes, onto the streets, at the GA, and at the campsite.
Cool. Maybe we can just lump that into the first agenda item of just increased attendance in general. Yeah, we decided with that, right?
Mike and then Claire.
Are we on a discussion for that, or are we still?
No, we're still making it work.
Agenda item?
Facebook issue, OccupyAsheville on Facebook. I want to know who is moderating that and who, because in many views that represents us, although it does support us, and I just can't understand that.
Shut it down.
Okay, yeah, sure, let's make it an agenda item, Facebook. Okay, so right now we have...
That'll be like the biggest,
any other
longest argument.
Right,
Okay, I'm going to read this through and then we can decide what we want to talk about first.
We've already
First one is
ourselves to that
increasing
page.
attendance overall, deciding what constitutes enough people here to make decisions, how to get more, how to get more people to camp. I think we can talk about that while we talk about attendance. And then, then in the Facebook issue. Okay, so we basically have 4 points. Anything else to add? Okay, do you want to talk about attendance first? That seems pretty pertinent. Okay, anyone have any ideas? Okay.
Coleman made the proposal about where the GA was.
Oh, yeah, that's the issue.
So our proposal for the nonviolent training working group with the camp security safety group. Not Coleman.
I'm sorry about that.
No, it's all right.
Your working group, your working group was in charge of that issue. Would you feel comfortable talking from that working group to just say what your proposal is?
Okay, so Yeah, we had, the agenda item is the next, sorry, I skipped that one because it wasn't on here. The next 3 GAs, times and places. We want to go ahead and cover that first. You guys cool with that? Anybody like, we got to talk about attendance or I'm out of here. Okay, cool.
I think that coming from that working group and the joint working group with the concerns of safety down there, because there have been some serious issues, was the more people who came that we saw at General Assembly who actually showed up at camp to spend a little time, it would help shift the energy. So the thought was that the whole GAs down at camp to do that, and we did Thursday and Friday.
Yeah, we'll get to that when we talk about getting better attendance overall. Let's hear the proposal for locations and times and try to consent to it. So really quick, I'm just going to go over for everyone the consensus process that we've been using at General Assembly so you're clear on it. We will go over one agenda at a time. We will take proposals regarding that agenda item. Then we will open the floor for any tweaks, friendly amendments. Then we'll take questions and concerns about that agenda item. We'll also, if there's any blocks or stand asides, we can address that right then. And then once the whole group is back together, we'll try to take consensus on it. So these issues, we might not need to go through that process so separately. Excuse me. I'm going to be try to be a little more lenient about letting people just directly ask clarification questions if they need to. But just know that that's the official process as it stands now. It may be reevaluated at tonight's meeting. But that's what we're going to try to stick to, at least somewhat. So our agenda item is GA times and locations for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Let's hear the proposal.
What is written into what I'm holding in my hand is the 3 points that we already consent to. And the only outstanding question from these consents, we're all going to work to get more people to camp because different working groups down there need help. We don't have enough personnel on the site. Bill. So the only question left out here was that I'll just read number 1. We have moved GA to the encampment on Thursday and Friday night.
That's already consensus upon.
Yes, this is what has already been consensus upon. I'm just going to read the one element of it because the other 2 elements let's get more people there. Okay. Move the General Assembly to the encampment on Thursday and Friday nights. Everybody was, yes, let's do that. Regular Saturday GA at Pritchard Park with a picket back to the encampment for dinner. Everybody thought that was really good. And Saturday is 3 o'clock to 5 or so.
So it's 3 o'clock and then the picket and then dinner?
Yeah. Pritchard Park Saturday, 3 o'clock, and then take it back to the encampment. Wind up hiking people back down there for dinner. We said Sunday, General Assembly, this time in Pack Park. But we will use this particular meeting, the only option is to decide the GA schedules for Monday, Tuesday, and at that point, it's open for discussion. Working group make a recommendation. Steve, and Sunny. We had to make a recommendation. I spent my own self-visit to it to try to do more work down there at the campus, but I believe it needs to be discussed. Whoa.
Just to clarify for all of you who have your hands up, what we're going to do right now is take proposals. Let's just decide location and then go back and decide time. So right now, we're going to take proposals for where we should meet Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. So if you think we should do the same place all 3 days, if you think we should do a different place, this is what we'll talk about right now.
I would like to propose that we hold those meetings in Pritchard Park. I think that if we have a strong desire to increase attendance and get more people involved, we need to remain more public. The encampment is down under the bridge in Lexington. The youth quarantine is off down there. And let's don't just submit to being penned up in an out-of-the-way place. Let's stay down in the center of downtown.
That's a proposal. Any other proposals about where we should meet Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday?
2, 3, 4.
I propose we meet in the encampment, and the reason is that clocks change to our meeting on Wednesday night, and such as the prices in the encampment. We need to get people there as much as possible, and one of the best ways to do that is to have the General Assembly in the encampment. So I propose that the General Assembly for those 3 nights be in the encampment.
Okay, so we have a proposal for Pritchard Park and also for camp.
Where?
I think that after Tuesday is a moot point, we don't know where we're going to be after Tuesday in the city council, depending on...
We can still decide where we want to have General Assembly on Wednesday, right now.
Right, but I think to decide Pritchard Park for Wednesday, it's still up in the air where we'll be. So I propose Monday, Tuesday, Pritchard Park. Wednesday,
Well, we know we will be allowed at Pritchard Park on Wednesday. We know we might not be able to be at Lexington on Wednesday.
Cool. So we're going to keep discussion of proposals to the next thing. Let's actually hear all the proposals so we know what we're working with, and then we'll talk about them.
Zoning. Okay, Sonny, I'm torn as to where we should have it on the weekdays. I wish that we had more input from the campers as to whether they thought it was still needed to have it down there or not, but my concern is about Tuesday, where we've got a council meeting, and we want a lot of presence at that council meeting. My idea is that we have it here on Tuesday for the council meeting, so that we can get people in there and have a good presence at the meeting.
Okay. Any more proposals about where to have the GAs for Monday, Tuesday,
Meeting
or
here
Wednesday?
early enough on Tuesday to get into the meeting, remember? That's the schedule.
Can I modify
We'll do that in a second.
Okay.
Let's just...
Corrado, you're concerned about rain and snow. Because every time we have rain, we don't have a GA meeting.
Mine was Tuesday to have it here, so
Okay.
This could be clarification or a proposal, depending on what the answer is. Are we deciding right now, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, continuously, or just this week?
Just for this week.
Okay.
Cool.
Where?
I was just, maybe it's an observation and I have to wait.
Yeah, let me review them and then we'll take those. Okay, so do we have any more proposals for meeting places Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday? What we've got right now is Pritchard Park for all 3 days, encampment for all 3 days, and then sort of another proposal / amendment that on Tuesday we meet here to accommodate people coming out of the city council meeting. So I think, Andy?
I'd like to also propose that we seek a backup display in case the rain or snow, such as some courtesy in the area.
GA backup rain location. That's a great idea.
Got it, clarification number.
Cool. Okay, any...
Tony, my proposal actually on Tuesday was to meet ahead of the city council.
What time is the city council meeting?
5 o'clock. So we have an early GA, for those who can make it ahead of that, and probably we'll need to have one afterwards, possibly on the
Here.
like we had last time.
Okay, so we'll talk about that. Thank you for clarifying. Are you about to take off?
No. Okay.
Thank you.
I have a point.
I did too. But yeah, no, I think once we get our locations nailed down, we can come back to time and talk about modifying having an early
flower.
Right. Any other proposals for locations for the next 3 GAs?
I just have a point. Camp needs a bare minimum of at least 4 or 5 people just to hold it down. So when you move GA from Lexington Camp, those are people that can't be in attendance.
Okay.
That's a concern.
Cool. So I'm gonna now open up the floor for amendments to these proposals, and does anyone have anything about the location that you want to add to one that's already been stated?
I'd like to state the Tuesday night as an amendment to Pritchard Park.
Pritchard Park, okay. And what about the PAC?
I'm sorry. The PAC here Tuesday.
Okay, so you're modifying the backup.
The encampment as a weather backup.
Okay, great. I think that already happened once this week.
Yeah.
Yeah, it did.
I think, one last thing, I think when we use that weather backup, we need to assign people to go to where it was published that it was going to be at and forward anybody that's coming to visit. I know they're going to miss the meeting, but we need that.
Claire.
I'm modifying my proposal to say Monday at the encampment, Tuesday here, and at 4 o'clock or whatever time we choose, period. And after the city council rules on situations, then we decide where we need to be for renters. But that depends on the city to come down.
Okay, I think that it only depends if we decide to do it at the camp on Wednesday. If we pick Pritchard Park for Wednesday right now, we can go ahead and post that, and whether or not we're still camping at Lexington has no effect on that. Does that make sense?
I think that the objective has some show solidarity if the campus is under distress by some ordinance and supports the news, that a general assembly presence with them or something like that could be a time for joint action, not separate.
I'm suggesting the last time we did a council meeting, we had a General Assembly directly afterwards, and we actually did it right there under the arches. And it was very effective, I just want to say. And it's probably the perfect time to schedule that, as I can't get out of work till 5 o'clock.
We'll go over time once we decide our location.
From my experience with these council folks and the APD, if we chose the worst case scenario that says y'all got to go, I suspect that they give you a little tip. I don't see the APD swatting up and coming through the camp and seeing everyone. It would be a 2-yard nightmare for them. I suspect that they're going to say, here's what you got to do. Just to understand maybe a little better the sequence, the timing and the sequences of what might happen. I think we'll have. They're not going to say get out of the park.
Yeah. Okay, so I think we're hearing that everyone thinks it's a good idea for us to be here on Tuesday or over there on Tuesday. Are we good on that? Can we try to go ahead and consent to that?
Are there any blocks to that? All right. Tuesday it'll be here. Cool. We have a contestant!
That's Tuesday.
Right, just Tuesday.
So for Tuesday, we'll definitely be here.
Clarification. I didn't hear a time for Tuesday. Okay, I'm sorry. It was just aware. I guess.
We need to go ahead. So we have 2 proposals for Monday and Wednesday. One is Pritchard Park. The other one is the encampment. Do we have any more questions or concerns about camping at Pritchard Park, or sorry, having a GA at Pritchard Park versus having one at the encampment?
A comment? Can I make a
comment.
Just an observation, and this is just my personal opinion, not treasury or anything else. When we have a meeting here, a lot of business gets done, and a lot of people can hear easily what's going on. Pritchard Park, we gain potential customers, or it's a good marketing tool, but it's a little bit harder to actually do business there. But it is really good for visibility. At the camp, half the people are in the GA, half the people aren't. Within about 3 feet of the activity, you can't hear. And so there are side conversations going on in a ring about 3 deep away. There's side conversations. So there may be a lot of bodies at camp, but actual work getting done is much more difficult, my opinion.
And I had actually jumped on stack to be next, so speaking not as a facilitator but as Elizabeth. I definitely agree that it's very hard to hear at the camp location, and I also want to second the fact that I don't think whether we're at camp or not really has an impact on whether or not campers decide to do GA. The couple GAs at camp I went to, there was still a bunch of people just chilling at camp who didn't want to be part of the GA process, and I think we need to address that in the attendance issue, not in the location issue.
Funny. As far as hearing, I'm unclear as to whether we can really use a bullhorn or not. We cannot, is that?
Well, we can, but it's against the ordinance for any type of amplified. That's the law. Yes,
Can we use a non-amplified?
Yes.
Hold on. We can do that. A megaphone. We can use. Okay.
How was it the Monsanto rally used an amplified PA?
You get a permit.
Maybe we should seek permit.
You have a hand like $100 a day.
That's a good one every day. How much do they cost?
I want to go back to what I said originally. The reason why the GA was moved to the encampment originally, which was earlier in the week, was that there was a crisis of safety and security there, and that it did not look like it could be handled very well. The reason to move the GA there was to help solve that problem. I had a conversation with Fox just before I came over here tonight. He said, while the problem is not completely solved, the situation is much, much better than it was at the beginning of the week. And he's very relaxed about it. And I didn't ask him, do you think it's because the GA is here? So that's a question. But if we move the GA from there, we may recreate some problems that we've partially solved already.
I got it.
The amplification issue, right across the street in front of whatever it is, Spirit Deck or whatever, as I walked away one night, there's using a amplification for his guitar or something. That's not in the park, I know.
Oh, the ordinance is that if people break it, if you're going to use amplified anything, you're supposed to go get a permit now. We all know that people get around it. That's all I'm saying. That's what they say.
So we're getting off topic now. We really need to just be talking about where we want to have our meeting. And if we decide after we pick a location that we need better sound systems and amplification, I think that could be a later discussion about how to get a non-battery operated megaphone if we need it, etc. So I think we should go ahead and take a vote on whether we want to be at...
Can we vote on Monday and Wednesday separately?
Sure. Yes. So for Monday, we have either Pritchard Park or the encampment. Let's see points.
Sorry, we're trying to all learn from this. So we're trying to avoid the voting system, because that always marginalizes people. So I'm trying to just figure this out with my facilitator as well. Because if we vote, then do we want to go with a vote, or do we want to have a proposal and say this is the place, and then we'll try to ask for consensus on that topic?
Well, we just got 2 proposals, so I don't think. I think we got to take a vote here, and if there's a big split, then we can open it for further discussion. But in general, I think we got to all remember that the best thing for us is what the group wants. And sometimes you got to step aside from what you want and go with the group out of getting it done. And we're trying to do that right now. We got to get it on. But what are you suggesting we do right now?
Let's give a kind of clarification.
Outside the process, and we're learning. I mean, voting is very corporate, very parliamentarian, here we need consensus, which is what you were hoping to do. It's not a vote.
So
okay, I can read words.
General vibe.
Strong pull.
Okay, so yes, so for Pritchard Park on Monday, yes, neutral, no, or you can do twinkles up, twinkles sideways, twinkles down. So Pritchard Park on Monday. We got some neutral twinkles.
This is pretty. Okay.
Pretty solid.
Are there any blocks? Okay, that's
so we're good for Pritchard Park on Monday?
All right.
Cool. All right.
Woohoo.
Awesome.
We decided
what about
something.
Wednesday? Do you want to go with Pritchard Park again? Let's do another straw poll. Okay, we got one down. You want to explain?
I think, especially with the city council meeting here on Tuesday night, going out there on Wednesday night gives us an opportunity to respond publicly in a large number at the location, whether we got it, keep it or not. And it does provide a show of support for the people we have on the front line under the bridge. Thank you.
Okay, so you're saying you.
I'm saying that I would like to do Lexington on Wednesday night.
Lexington on Wednesday night. Okay. Alright, let's see if we can get consensus on that based on what you just said. Everyone in favor of going to camp on Wednesday to show solidarity for whatever decision City Council makes, okay? Nope, it wasn't. We got one right there. We had it down.
Any blocks?
Do you want to talk about why you think we should not?
Sure, I think we should have Bob in, but you want to get on it, sure I know.
Can't hear you.
I think that we should have one location for the meeting. We should be at the location so that people who know where the meeting. If the person comes in the meeting and says, great, I'd like to come to the General Assembly, there's no one in the court who can tell them when and where.
We need to talk afterwards because it was very clearly posted all day today, and right now we're not making a decision about whether or not we want to have all the GAs in one place. We're just talking about where we want to have it on Wednesday.
Right. I think we should create an agenda item for the next GA to establish a regular schedule for location of GA. Yeah. That's it.
Okay.
So we have a consensus on Wednesday. Yeah, going to be meeting at the camp.
Right.
And maybe do we want to try to leave that open for Tuesday's GA to discuss if they need to?
I think that would be wise.
Because we don't know what's going to happen. So based on what Claire was saying, I heard her really saying that we need to try to be flexible and make sure that we can go with the flow with whatever happens. So let's have the Wednesday date. If it's cool, be probable plus tentative, and then if we need to rework it based on Tuesday, we can. Does that sound okay? Michael, there's some no lack of whistling. Cool. Okay, let's talk about time. So right now we've got
Wednesday.
Monday, Pritchard Park. Right. So we said I'm really tired. Tuesday is going to be Pack Square. And then Wednesday will be camp. So what time do we want to meet on Monday? Can I get proposals?
7 p.m.
7 p.m. You want to keep it at 7?
People are used to 7.
Cool. Let's keep it at 7 on Monday. Okay, what about
Monday is 7.
Tuesday? And we could also maybe try to do 2. Because I know we heard some discussion earlier about, okay, we need one right before it and we need one right after it. So, does anyone want to propose that?
Before it be at 4 o'clock, what time does the meeting start?
City Council doors open at 3:30, so if people are trying to fill in and get spots, we may need to have it as earlier as 1:30 or something if we really want to be done by the time people need to start doing that.
Clarification. All the thing, so I walked in there at 5:30 and there were 8 seats.
Okay.
This might be a more contentious meeting, but we can be pushing people to work to break it all off and come up here.
Okay.
I believe so. Could you reconsider the time?
Yeah, I'm not proposing that. I was just sort of trying to voice what I heard.
Yeah, we just said before is all we've had.
Okay,
we've
so
had
does
time proposed.
someone want to propose a specific time for before the meeting?
4 o'clock, 4:20.
Oh, yeah.
No, what's wrong with
I like 4:20.
No, not enough time. I think 4 o'clock.
So 4? We good about 4?
Can't do the early meetings, so.
Any low fingers or potential blocks? Okay, so we're gonna have one on Tuesday at 4 p.m. before the meeting, and then I think the one that happens afterwards. This was just my experience 2 weeks ago. Was that it just happened when the meeting got done. And it was actually problematic because the schedule said 7 and they didn't get out until 9. So a lot of people showed up expecting there to be a GA, and then there was kind of some, well, why did I show up? It's a waste of my time. People are sitting around smoking and playing games. So how awful. But so do we want to try to pick a time where we think the meeting will get done again? Chuck?
Sonny. Yeah, since I made the proposal about here Tuesday, my main idea was that the primary agenda item for the earlier meeting is going to be determining who we want to try to get in there to sign up to speak. You know, they have a process where you can be allowed 10 minutes to speak, and 3 people, I think, would be allowed 10 minutes to speak on one, if I recall correctly, on one as representative. And others can then yield their time to someone who signed up, and we can make some decisions as to who we want to deputize as being our primary speakers, that sort of thing. That'd be the agenda item for the early meeting. The late meeting should, in my mind, should be after the council meeting is done. The people recognize the importance of what's going to be decided there. If they really care about this movement, that they would hang out for an hour or two until that meeting's done, and we would meet after the meeting's done.
I think we need an estimate about what time.
Determine if there is a decision that needs to be made that night, you know, in a General Assembly context after the meeting. See what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah, I'm just saying if there's people who can't make it to that meeting for whatever reason, or to the city council meeting but want to come to the GA debriefing it, we should at least pick a time that we think is when it'll get out, that we can post on the website and just say, you know, 9 p.m. or when city council dismisses, and have it be a better estimate than 7. So do we want to say, who thinks they have a good idea of when it'll get out? I know it's hard to say, right?
Where is it on the agenda?
Sorry?
Where is this question on the agenda?
Time of GAs?
No, we're on the city council agenda.
Oh,
we're under unfinished business.
It's already being circulated. We can figure that out.
We're under unfinished business in their itinerary, so
that'll be early.
It should be earlier.
So maybe we can still stick with 7?
Yeah, 7-ish. Claire, you want it?
I don't know if we can call it a second GA on Tuesday. We should say the following city council's Tuesday meeting, there will be a report back on the steps of City Hall.
Yes.
Even if we show up at a certain time on the agenda, isn't all the speech making or the public input at the end?
Sorry.
And so if things don't go our way, won't people want to be in the...
No. Whatever staff presentation or whatever.
Coleman.
Really quick, I stepped down from facilitation because I have a really strong feeling about this, and I want to say it as part of the group and not as a facilitator, so Timby's going to take over.
Coleman.
It follows the pattern of last time. They have some business for us. They'll ask for the presenters and any other comments. Don't not to be confused with public comment that comes at the end. There's the issue that is on the table, and it's open for anyone to make comments at that time. But then after we got through with all that they had open comments from all over the place, and that drove the meeting later. So you can anticipate it probably being a little later. Again.
All right.
I think we really do need to call it a GA, because I think based on what they say, we may need to make a big decision about where we're going to go, and I think we're going to need to use this process and have good facilitation. So I just wanted to say that I think we should consider it a GA and have people come to it like they would come to a GA, and based on which one they want to go to, whether they really want to be involved with the meeting or they want to be more involved with how we deal with it, people should be able to decide and know that they'll have a process to have their voice heard.
Yeah, I suppose that perhaps we might kind of limit it to, if you think it might go ad hoc at the latest, maybe 9 o'clock, they propose to have like a GA after City Council meeting, City Hall steps at approximately 8:30 or 8 o'clock.
Mike.
I like the 8.
Suggestion, I guess I understand the need for a GA after the city council meeting because we have decisions to make. Maybe we should have a rally before the assembly meeting and then have the GA following that.
And any other comments or questions or opinions or proposals?
2 hands went up at the same time.
I like the idea of the rally, but it seems like there needs to be some time to talk about the approach before we start rallying. So I don't know if that would be Monday night today, but there needs to be some time at a general assembly to talk about the approach.
About what a rally would be.
Yeah, but what this is, how it's supposed to stop.
Did we already have an agenda item planned for that?
We can write that down as, because we're not quite talking about the rally and how to exactly do a rally right now, but we can have that be on tomorrow, an agenda item if someone wants to.
That's what I'm saying, is I'd like to propose that be an agenda item for tomorrow.
Okay. Time check.
Somebody want to relieve me on stack? I'm getting lost in the syntax here.
Yeah, it seems like oh man, we've gone over the hour and a half for sure, and I just want to just check to see how people are doing just in general. Are we wanting to go like a lot more? Try to get through all these agenda items? Are we trying to just kind of in the middle, or should we end pretty soon? How are we feeling? Can we get a vibe? Just like this is end pretty soon. This is like I have some energy. I have so much energy I can do this all day. Okay. Yes. Oh, thank you for that. So we have how to increase attendance both at the GAs and at the camp. We also have Facebook as a question of its effectiveness. Those are the 2 main things that we have left on the agenda.
I propose we table the attendance because we all know that we need to be working on that. And I don't know that we can make an effective decision about Facebook now and then bring that to the next larger GA.
So the proposal, sorry?
I was thinking maybe we could request that the media work group come back tomorrow night's GA with a proposal to how to approach Facebook for discussion, and that we have a request go out to see the other working groups for attendance outreach. That we have a request for the outreach group to make a proposal on that tomorrow night. We can't. I'd just like to ask them to come back with that.
And just for clarification, can we get some hands up to ensure that multiple members of the media group are here right now?
They are not.
They're not. We have one.
One. Oh, we
have
2. We got
2, 3.
Okay.
Alright, so we do have some members of the media group here. Okay.
We have members from outreach.
Outreach.
Okay.
All right. So both the groups have heard the request, and they can do what they want to.
Is that a good way to deal with those so that we don't have to deal with them?
Yeah. Here, let me
Clarify the request.
Let's do this right now. So the proposal is, let's table these 2 items, Facebook and the attendance issue, knowing that they're very big issues. People want to talk about it. There are working groups already at play who are talking about these issues. So the proposal is right now, the request has been made to maybe talk about these at the upcoming GAs. But for right now, this GA, we're not going to talk about those issues, even though they are important. So if we agree to table them, you go like this. I'm not sure. Okay.
I would propose that we table them, but I want to have a specific request going to those working groups to report back to us tomorrow.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. I know, but I just wanted that to be
Totally. So the request is that those working groups, the outreach working group and the media working group, report back on the Facebook issue and how we are going to increase attendance at the camp and the GAs. So that is the request. And so with that in mind, can we table this for later GAs?
I'm not understanding what they're asking us to do. Huh? Well, we can't deal with that overnight. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, we're still dealing with feedback for outreach and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so in the direct, how about this? In the working group report back, how about we schedule, if that's okay for those working groups, for them to report back on those issues and where they stand at that point in time.
I could do a quick report back now.
I think we're trying to.
We don't live in.
Facebook. For you, it would just be here's the outreach, so it's attendance. Is that all right for the media groups to have that as an agenda item for next year?
Can I frame the Facebook thing in about 3 paragraphs?
No.
It's really simple.
We're trying to really, because people are losing energy in this, so we're trying to just come to some consensus about tabling it.
I wouldn't mind.
You're saying that these groups have to meet before tomorrow when there is no schedule.
I'm saying that I would like somebody that represents those groups to make some recommendation and to have an agenda item on tomorrow's GA.
Oh, okay.
To make some recommendation or to facilitate some discussion on these topics.
Okay. I thought you were asking for
do that. Make a note of that.
I would like for some of the representatives of those working groups to be able to make a recommendation.
Oh, you are asking
I hope they want to table it till tomorrow, though.
When there's no meeting on the schedule.
Okay, tell us when we can talk about it. When is there a meeting of the media group? When's the next meeting?
I do not know.
It hasn't been scheduled yet. The same thing with.
For outreach, I think we can have a report ready for tomorrow. We may not be able to address specific issues like what is absolutely going to work for increasing attendance, but there has been progress in outreach. There's been some different experiments that have been going on this weekend. So I think a report can absolutely be presented. So yeah, if there's just a request for a report of what we've been doing and what the feedback is, I think we can do that. Okay, and media can do that as well.
My presentation is that after the meeting is still with Facebook, if there are concerns expressed about how Facebook is representing the body of the whole here. And that's what I'd like to hear back on, not just the general conversation, but that there are concerns about.
So hopefully what we're trying to do is be able to create an opportunity for people to express all their concerns about all of these topics. And so we're trying to do that as best we possibly can, knowing that it can't happen right now, or we're trying not to have that happen today about that. So, yes?
Is it possible to still put little seed thoughts about it, concerns about that
Are we
topic?
having announcements after this?
No, soapbox after this. You can soapbox all you want about it.
That we have inclusive soapbox within GA.
Okay, that's a really important issue that I think we should all talk about for sure. I'm just trying to see if we can accommodate people's needs right now of closing down the GA pretty soon because we've been here for a little while, and so one thing that we're trying to do is how to effectively table the discussion about Facebook and about attendance. So that's where we're in the middle of right now, and I'm wanting to try to come to consensus about that, but there are still folks who may have some topics or points about it.
This is more direct response, and anybody that has issues, say with the Facebook or the other issue, come and see us after the meeting. And that way we can at least know what some of the problems are, because I know what that other people are concerned about, and then we can think about it overnight at least. So come find us.
Thank you. Maybe if we could have a volunteer from each of those working groups stay after and walk the entire soapbox, anyone can soapbox, and they will be heard.
That was my suggestion, that anybody that has concerns about the Facebook group, just come to me after the GA, and I will hear all the concerns, and I'll talk to the rest of the media, and we'll make a report back tomorrow.
All right, so we might be at a place to officially take consent. Okay, more.
We got to pick a time for the Wednesday meeting.
Yeah, that's true. we're just trying to table, right now we're going to try to reach consensus about whether we can table the rest of the agenda items of attendance and Facebook. So can we table those items given the conditions we talked about? Are there any blocks about that? Okay, great. Yeah?
Yeah, just one more item. It might need to come up before we close the meeting. Yes, I just noticed that one of our treasurers, Mr. Ryan, we have that treasurer's report.
Yeah, we did.
We heard.
Well, I was representing in the regular meeting. Do you have anything, Mike?
I'll defer to John. We're good.
Okay. All right. So, that's great. Thank you. Thank you. So now what we're going to try to do is decide on the time. And let's see, we figured out Monday is going to be at 7 o'clock because it's always been at 7 o'clock. And 7 o'clock is going to be at Pritchard Park. Tuesday, we've decided that at 4 p.m. will be the first GA. Or I'm not sure if we decided. Well, these are the working proposals right now. Sorry. On Tuesday, we're going to have it here, but now we're wondering about times and how to phrase them. And so the first one idea has been we're going to have it one at 4 o'clock before the 5 o'clock meeting, and we're going to have another one after the meeting is over. And we're trying to figure out a time to tell people to come out for the second meeting and exactly what to call that. So are there any concrete proposals about that?
I would propose 8 o'clock, say that we rally in front of City Hall, and then have our GA will be as soon as everyone comes out of chambers.
8 o'clock. Any other thoughts?
8 o'clock or after.
Okay, well, since there are no other proposals, since there are no other proposals, maybe we could try to get consensus about this. So the consensus is we'll have 2 GAs. The first GA will be at 4 o'clock here. The second GA will be at 8 o'clock, but we'll say that we're not sure it's at 8 o'clock. It'll be after the meeting.
We'll rally at 8.
Rally at 8.
Rally at 8.
Oh, okay. So we haven't had consensus about that one.
Oh, right.
So let's do this. How about let's decide on the 8 o'clock part first, and then we'll decide about the 4 o'clock. So 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock here will be a GA at 8 o'clock here. Let's have a 8 o'clock GA
Clarification.
on the steps.
I got a clarification because actually it's 8 o'clock rally, GA after the council meeting, which could be 9 o'clock. So. Oh.
GA will bring a rally proposal up tomorrow.
Yes.
So we're trying.
So we're.
That works.
Go ahead.
So what is our proposal? I'm sorry about that. Maybe I'm not
8 o'clock GA. The proposal on the floor is 8 o'clock GA on the courthouse steps.
Okay.
That wasn't my proposal.
City Hall steps.
What?
All right. So
That wasn't what I proposed.
I'm sorry.
Shoot.
What was the proposal?
The proposal specifically was to, we know that we're most likely the council will not be done at 8. I propose that we rally outside of City Hall at 8 o'clock, where we will wait until they come out of City Council, and then we have our GA at that point. That was my proposal.
Okay. So then just kind of wrap it up, like what we'll put on the website or whatever, is 8 o'clock rally GA after. Is kind of what the idea was that. Okay. Are there any more?
That was my clarification.
My question is, like, is that in addition to, like, us being here at 4 o'clock before?
In addition.
Okay, thank you.
Any other comments about that before we take a consensus?
Yeah, what's the main purpose of the 4 o'clock gathering or whatever?
Maybe we can talk about that when we talk about the 4 o'clock. So let's actually ask for consensus about 8 o'clock rally, and then after that, then we'll have a GA here. We feeling good? Feeling in the middle, or no? Okay. Are there any blocks to that? 8 o'clock rally. All right.
Woo! We got through. That took a while. Only took a half hour.
All right.
Get through that one.
So now
to get through
we're
that.
talk about the 4 o'clock. are we having? Do we have a proposal about what that is? Is that a GA?
No.
Stop, lady. Stop.
Yeah, my original idea was to meet ahead of time, ahead of the council meeting, that we have a time set that we do that, so that we can deal with the council presentation. That would be the primary purpose of that particular meeting. Whether we call it a GA or not, I assume we still use the consensus model for it and facilitation. But if the issues can be addressed well enough and our presentation can be addressed well enough at Monday's GA, tomorrow night, then there's not necessity to do that. But that might be something would be a called meeting on Tuesday if needed. That's sort of where I'm at on that.
I just wanted to say, if we're just saying it's not going to be a GA and we're going to have a meeting with people before we go in over there.
More process is off topic.
Okay. Well,
you have something that you'd like to say?
Yeah. I just say we don't need a vote for that. We don't need the GA to say, let's have a meeting. We need the GA to say we're going to have an official GA. We're going to have some people get together and organize these kickoffs down here. I don't see a need for us to have this kind of a GA vote on that.
So we're still trying to figure out what to call this thing that we're going to be doing at 4 o'clock. Some people said GA.
City Council.
So a proposal is a meeting. What else are you? What else are we doing at 4 o'clock?
I mean, it's a meeting of willing participants, the people that want to go and to go in the city council is what this meeting is for at 4 o'clock. Okay, so that's all it is, you know. And we don't have to be a GA per se, but we need to get everybody together at, you know, that time so we can discuss how we're going to approach, you know, and how we're going to get in our tactics or whatever. Sure.
All right. Anything else?
City Council strategy.
Yeah, doesn't matter.
All right, so let's take a consensus on this. Do we want to call this a pre-city council consensus meeting at 4 o'clock?
Strategy.
Sorry, city council strategy meeting at 4 o'clock.
Sounds like a good term.
All right. Are there any blocks to that? Okay. Another consensus!
Yay!
Oh, good. All right.
I've got a question. We have representatives who are going to be directly addressing City Council or just general?
At 8 p.m. tonight, we're going to be talking about that exact issue at camp and how to figure that out.
Not officially, but I do know of individuals that feel very strongly about our position that are already considering this commitment.
So now the last bit that I think is the time on Wednesday. So Wednesday we've been meeting at 7 o'clock.
Yeah, I would propose that we stick with the 7 o'clock time frame for Wednesday.
Okay. Are there any other proposals about that Wednesday? Okay. So 7 o'clock on Wednesday. Let's take a vibe on that. Are there any blocks? Okay. Nice.
Awesome.
7 o'clock on Wednesday. So I'm pretty sure that we did it.
No way. Did y'all lump the quorum issue in with the attendance thing? Because that's something that's probably separate.
Thank you for that.
Okay.
Thank you. I forgot about that. Since so we tabled the Facebook and the attendance items, but we haven't talked about what constitutes a quorum, or we can make a decision. That sounds like a really big topic. I'm not sure if we have energy to talk about that right now. Are you guys really wanting to talk about this issue, or not really, or let's just table that for later?
I just have
I don't know.
That if people don't make it their business to be at GA, then even if it's small GA, they'll go ahead and make the business.
Just that it's important that on decisions like this that the minutes be posted quickly and to certain places and in the camp where there's a digital divide, that decisions on locations be posted on paper up at the camp. So I just want to see if the note taker is able to do that in an expeditious way.
I can walk down and post the one tonight right now.
Once again, I know it's just words, but like I like the word critical mass a little more than quorum. Quorum is a corporate, top-down, specific number from the elected officials that are. I mean, we use it. The quorum is part of another. Is it called it? Critical mass or some other word besides quorum, please.
Quorum in the first place.
If the proposals adopted at GA are open for revision at any point to be overturned by a consensus, then I have to issue with letting a smaller GA pass these proposals.
That's right.
Yeah. Sure.
Do we have any more comments or about this topic? Because we can maybe have a couple more comments and maybe close this GA. Are there any more comments about this topic? Because it's an important one, and we really want to be able to talk about it.
I got one. Let's just do a discussion of how many people we need for consensus, or whether the next GA can rework a decision made by a previous one may also be accompanied by a discussion of do we want to keep having GAs every day, and I think we need to have that at another meeting.
All right. Well, I think, is there anything anyone else wants to say about the quorum issue before we close it up?
That the word quorum is a problematic word.
And that quorum is a problematic word.
Another word.
Yes. Sorry? Critical mass.
Minimum number for consensus.
Yes, getting a minimum number of consensus. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Consensus standards.
Consensus standards. That sounds good.
Or, yeah. Or minimum people. You mean.
I agree. We'll do our best at 6. All right, folks.
Can we get a recap on our schedule? Because I've lost it already in my head.
I can, if you'd like.
Yes.
So we've consented to Monday's GA at 7 p.m. at Pritchard Park. Tuesday, we will have a City Council strategy meeting at 4 p.m. here, and a rally at 8 p.m., followed by the General Assembly once City Council is done. And then Wednesday, we will have it at camp at 7 p.m.
Way to go, team! Yeah!
Yay. All that just to get an agenda together? Just to get our... That was a long time. So we spent all day just getting the agenda for next week up. We'll hang out for soapbox, though.
Whether or not you agree with smoking, whether I think we can all agree that it's bad for you, tobacco is an excellent peacekeeping tool. Extending a cigarette to someone who comes into camp is an awesome icebreaker. This is the Tobacco Fund. I will bring it.